Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Brave and Eyes here, and in today's video we're gonna do sort of like a little tutorial on how to basic drifting, some simple techniques and maybe some tips and goals you might want to achieve as you're trying to learn how to drift. Just some easy simple ones. We're not gonna go over too many advanced stuff, but the reason why is so someone asked me to do a tutorial. And unfortunately, they do have a gear-driven wheel, which I'm going to go back to a gear-driven wheel after I do a little demonstration with this setup. So I got the Logitech G923 Pro, which is 11 Newton meters of torque, right? Way too expensive for its price, though. But, you know, it is what it is. That's what I got. And for the price, I would say, like, competitively, Camus is a better deal than Logitech just because it is a direct drive wheel. And the limitations of gear driven wheels, let's just go over that real quick. You know, let's just say these are the teeth of the gears. And the gear attached to the motor moves, right? And there's play between the teeth of the gears, you know? So that's the cause of the delay, is that gear driven wheels are just limited because they use gears. Tons of them, right? And as a gear moves, you know, there's a bit of play. And who knows? I haven't looked inside of a Logitech G923 myself. That's the wheel I started on, by the way. And I did drift with that, so it is possible. You can see tons of drifting videos with G923s out there. I was never confident to show any videos with it or upload anything with it because it's just, I'll be honest, it's not really that fun. Because drifting is a lot easier than you think, and the Logitech G923 makes it harder. It's funny because like beginners wheels should be like an entry level, and they should just work and develop interest in what you're trying to do, right? But Logitech's wheels are probably only good for just normal racing. Drifting, not so much. And I think a lot of people are super interested in drifting and will get, you know, whatever is cheap. And that's what I did too. And look at me, I did double the price. So, I don't know. I just giving the information out there. Anywho, if you want a better experience, just get a direct drive wheel. Shop around and see what's up your alley. Look up the games that you want to play and figure out if those wheels that you're interested in are compatible with it. I guess that's about pretty much it. Anyways, let's do a little demonstration. That's why I'm in here. It's just a demonstration of oh, check out my little feet. I do have a hole in my sock though, so a little bit exposed. But I figured I'd try to cover up. It's right after work, so I don't really have any good socks right now. But yeah, gas, brake, clutch, and another thing is, you probably won't see it too well, but here's the menu. Go to UI apps, and then go to edit apps. It'll be on the side. It'll look like this. Hold on. Oh man, I'm gonna mess up my camera view. So over here, this is the left side of the screen. You know, again, I'm on triple monitor, so that's why it's so wide. So I have to do this special thing. Right here, once you open UI apps, which is here in the center. So, yeah, UI apps, right? Click that and go here, edit apps, and then, you know, search for your, hold on, shoot, do I know how to move my setup? Your tachometer would be like somewhere on the side here on the screen, and you know, maybe move that to the center and then make it like smaller, like so. If you want to be in cockpit view, sure. Make sure you unclick hide in cockpit view. And the reason why you want it in the center is so you can stare at the road and make sure you're drifting right. You know, it doesn't have to be in the center. If you're playing in third person, you know, offset it a bit. You know, just make sure it's visible because you want to keep an eye on your revs, your RPMs, right? So that's the goal. That's the reason why I put that there. Um, let me go back to normal. Oh man, I gotta manually do this. Right there. Okay. Oh man, I love having the little screen right here. I could actually make sure you see what I want you guys to see. Anyways, again, I like to play in first person, but it's easier in first person. And if you want to play in third person, or if you think it's easier in third person, you know, that's just up to you. But right now, I'm just trying to demonstrate the wheel. We'll go back in third person later. And yeah, let's get into this. That's enough rambling. So, first thing you want to do is do a donut, right? Maybe in first gear. My wheel feels weird, probably because I clicked out the game. You just want to hold a wheel in one direction, right? And you're doing a donut, right? Just doing a little couple spins, and then let's try to give it less. Okay, yeah, okay. So the minute you start turning like that, let go of the wheel, and see that? I'm doing a drift. And it's basically what you want to do. You want to, and you get the feeling of like counter steering. So just hold it for a bit, let the car do its thing, give it about 5 to 6,000 RPM, and or get it high enough to do this point. And you know, just do it slowly. Squeeze the gas, right? Just little by little. Just get used to it. The nice thing is you're not throwing an entire car around and destroying it, right? So just because, don't be afraid of crashing. You know, you can do whatever you want. You can destroy whatever. Now then, we're gonna add a bit of countersteer, right? And this is, you're gonna feel the limitations of gear-driven wheels. So, because I could just let go and grab, and I'm countersteering. That's it. That's it. That's all there is to it. Voila. But there's a problem with gear-driven wheels. Let's do that again real quick. The problem with gear-driven wheels is, let's do this again. Okay. Nope. And get into a donut, right? Okay, I'm doing it wrong. I was able to do it before. Something wrong with my car. Maybe there's something wrong with my car. Let's reset. Let's do it the other way too. There you go. Okay, so we got into the donut, right? And you want to counter steer, but now you have to actually assist and help it. You see what I did right there? I moved my hand with the wheel to assist in counter steering. And it's because the gear driven wheels need help. Its motors are too weak, and it's gear driven. It's not direct drive, so there's the additional impact of it having a delay in response. So the minute you let go to counter steer and let it counter steer for you is the moment you're gonna have to also help the wheel the counter steer as well. So with a direct drive wheel, I don't do as much work, and with a gear driven wheel, you have to do extra work. It's a workout, and I will say you're gonna work out just to get your wheel to drift for you. Anywho, now that I demonstrated kind of like drifting, and you know, let me have a little bit more fun real quick. You know, let's go to second gear, right? So let's do initiations real quick, and then I could just like do a side by side comparison. But yeah, what I just did was a clutch kick. So if you look at my feet, I kind of just stab the throttle and clutch at the same time, and I kind of let go of give it less throttle the minute, and try to get around that 5,000 or 6,000 RPM. And you can see I'm just, the only thing I'm doing with this wheel is trying to make sure I hold the drift. Okay, I stalled. But the wheel is counter steering for me. Whenever I wanted to counter steer, all I have to do is let go of the wheel. It's that simple. But the gear driven wheel, you have to counter steer. You basically have to counter steer the wheel as well. The wheel has the countersteer and you have the countersteer versus a direct drive wheel where the wheel just countersteer for you, so it's less work. And I think less work is nice, especially if you actually want to learn drifting for real, right? I mean, I want to. Sadly, I don't know when that's gonna ever happen. I'm kind of like always broke right now, and I don't drive manual, unfortunately. Only do it in game, and I hope to do it one day. But thanks to crashing tons and tons of cars in Sims, you know, I might be one step closer to doing it. And you can like flick the wheel like that with a direct drive wheel. Oops. I hit a button. Okay, well, regardless, that's basically how it works. Yeah, let's switch over to the other setup, which I gotta actually put together. Which, you know what, let's just point the camera over there. There's my little desk over there. It's pretty dark out there. Oh, my game crashed. Cool. Nice timing. But yeah, I'm gonna be over there. Right there, you can see my Logitech G923 over there. Keyboard. We're gonna be over there, and yeah, I'll see you when I put it together. Alright guys, we are back in BeamNG. Completely rearranged my room a little bit. Just a little bit. And we're gonna come back here, and we got the Logitech G923 beginner entry-level wheel, right? And I did some playing around. Gonna go to the grid map, and where is it? Handling, right here. Go to the handling, and reload up the map. So, as I said, you know, anytime you're like trying to countersteer, you're kind of going to need to help the wheel. Although it's a lot easier than you think. But I already messed with some settings. But let's go over force feedback. I was surprised when I hooked up my wheel. A lot of my settings are already saved, so that's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. But you know what? Let's just start. So I have it at strength at 700. So let's just go over the settings real quick, right? I started with smoothing at 0. I put it at 20. You know, let's just start over. It's supposed to be at 500. So if you read the description here, it says what, like entry level wheels configured to 1 to 3 Newton meters of torque, 350 to 500. So the most strength you would put in is 500, and that's what we're gonna do. But at the same time, you know, hold on. Steering lock strength is 0. I added some side acceleration, so the wheel does get affected by going sideways a little bit, and I think that helps a bit. So I just put it at 5%. You know, start small. It's a max of 20. Use Logitech features. Do I have this off? I don't know. Anyways, let's bring smoothing down to 0 as well. And everything's about pretty much the same for the most part. Since I'm back in the Logitech wheel, you're gonna have your wheel angle to 900. That's the max angle. I will say if you reduce it, you have to reduce it in your Logitech software. So let's pull out the Logitech G Hub real quick, right? And I haven't opened this in a while. But I turn off all the True Force stuff off because I don't want like so much detail being applied to the wheel. I want as less detail as possible because you just want your wheel as smooth as possible, and you don't want it to be affected by extra detail. You know what I mean? So, oops, why did I click out of that? So sensitivity at 100. Obviously, you just want max everything, max angle, centering spring strength. Don't worry about this. Centering spring in non-force feedback games. So if your game does not have force feedback at all, this is a pretty nice feature. I've done this in Pacific Drive. And you know what? I might do a tutorial for that game too, just for fun. Let's see if I can do that. But yeah, if there's a driving like game, you know, let me just add something extra. So shoot, I need to open my desktop. Ignore all my gotcha games. I don't even play them anymore. Where is it? Right here. X360 is an app, and you can like simulate an Xbox controller, and then with the centering spring strength right here, you know, activating the centering spring in non-force feedback games, you can basically, your wheel will just return to center. It'll be a nice way to kind of emulate a driving physics, you know. Obviously, you're not getting any force feedback, so there's no real driving physics. But, you know, just a little bonus right there. Anyways, back to settings. Make sure you have wheel direct. Okay. Well, we're gonna cut back to that. Alright, and we are back. That's really cool to be able to crash out of nowhere. But it might have been my fault for just clicking out of in the game so much. But, you know, we're just trying to do this tutorial here. But yeah, we're gonna be tuning these setups, and I'll link a chapter to where the final tune is, just so it's easier to get to. By the way, I'm putting a lot of this stuff in chapters, so it's easier to digest. Obviously, we just did a little test run with the direct drive, my Logitech G Pro wheel, which is way better, way smoother. It's easier to learn on. But yeah, all right. So back to force feedback. You know, bind your wheel, set your steering angle to 900. Ignore most of this because it's already there. Depending on your wheel, you may need to invert or not. But that's you'll know if you need to do it or not. And I think, well, it looks like my force feedback is inverted. Okay, so I had to invert mines. Strength. We're gonna reduce it to 500 for now because we're gonna just re-experience what I experienced real quick. Steering lock strength. I guess you don't really need this, but I think it will help a little bit if you want to use it. But basically, it will. Once it hits all the way to the edge at 900 degrees in one direction, it will kind of bounce the wheel back a little bit. Why? I don't know. I think you want that at 0 because this is a gear-driven wheel and you don't want these crazy additional effects. So definitely not on a gear-driven wheel, I think. In my opinion. Not I think. In my opinion, from what I experienced on the direct drive wheel, I finally found out what that felt like. Side acceleration, I think this will help with the Logitech gear-driven wheels. So, I mean, like I said, they're cheap. They need as much help as they can get, but maybe this is 0 as well. We'll test that out real quick. You can leave these alone. I'm not going to use Logitech features because that'll interfere with the wheel. I think I don't want too much additional features being applied to the wheel. I heard the True Force is actually pretty good, but maybe for like normal racing. But for drifting, let's turn that off because we want to stay sideways and we don't want to hit like a rock and like to feel the rock and all of a sudden your steering wheel just goes berserk, you know. And the thing is, this, you know, these old school gear-driven wheels are, and like I said, old school because it's outdated tech now. It is outdated tech. We're going to turn the smoothing to 0. I saw it was at 20, so I think I had the strength at 700 and the smoothing to 20. So I'll memorize that. I'll hit apply. Now, we're going to go back to pedals again. If you go back to one of my previous videos, I went over settings before, but it wasn't really a drifting tutorial. But we still need to go over settings. Throttle. I put it at 2.5 on this. I think I have 1.4 on my Logitech Pro pedals, but I definitely needed more. You know, you want to slowly step on your gas and like see it slowly kind of. Ooh, okay. So I felt I was slowly stepping on the throttle right there. Like if you look at my feet, I don't know if you want to, but let me fix the camera angle a little bit. I don't have my pedals mounted, but you know, right here, pedal, and as I slowly push little by little, you want your RPMs to go up slowly along with it. And you can see right here, I have it at 2.5. Yeah, but I think this is right. I might actually put it at 2.5 on my Pro pedals too later. Brake, I'll leave that up to you. Actually, I might put it at 1 because these pedals are terrible. They and you have to push really hard on. And we're not going to use pedals, honestly. You don't need brake for at least starting to drift. Braking is about like later. It helps you control your drift, but we can go over that some other video. We're just gonna try to learn how to initiate the drifts in this clip, and then clutch. I don't think you really need to play with that too much. But maybe depending on the car, and if you care about your handling, you know, you'll change it. So we have our strength at 500 and their smoothing at 0. And honestly, those are the two things that you want to adjust and change as you try to figure out where you want your force feedback to. So now we're here in third person. You see I have my tachometer right in the middle, and let me show you how to do that. UI apps, edit apps, and your tachometer, which should be like around here. And you can move it right here. I put it dead in the center. And it's probably smaller. You can adjust the size right here. And then there's the hide in cockpit view, right? And if you want to still use it while in first person, which I recommend learning in first person, it's easier. Just way easier. It actually is. Because you know, you have your sense of direction pointing at the apex at all times, or the center of the circle if you're doing a donut. And you know, we'll go over that a bit, but yeah. You have this right in the middle, so you're looking in the middle of the screen and it's there, so you can keep an eye on your RPMs, your revs. And typically, let's just get started anyways. So I'm not going to use a shifter here. I'm just going to use paddle shifters. I just need to be in gear. Right? And you can hear I think you hear it, right? The gears and it's rattling crazy. It might make a terrible video, but you know, I'm trying to help you guys G923 owners. So actually it works. Yeah, this is all about throttle. So doing the drift slowly, you can kind of do it. Okay, let's do a donut first, and you can hear the gears going wild, right? So as the minute it releases, let go and let it countersteer for you. And it actually works, yeah. It works. Wow, BeamNG is actually pretty nice if you can get over the absolutely horrendous gears. I'm gonna pause right here and check back in the clip to see if you can actually hear me. So we'll be right back. All right, and we're back. I had to like review the clip to make sure the grinding gears doesn't overpower my voice, because I want to make sure you guys hear me. But yeah. All right, so honestly, those settings seem to feel fine right now, but I might tweak it later as we do more aggressive stuff. Yo, it is so hard for me to focus with how loud these gears are. Oh wait, no. Let's go back to first gear. Okay. And, oh, this is hard without a shifter. Because I forgot to, like, I forgot the rev match. Anyways, we're gonna kind of pull the wheel towards the center of the circle, right? And we're gonna give it to 6,000 RPMs, right? And then we're gonna do a donut, right? And then the minute it starts to turn and release out of the weird loop, like right here, let go and let it counter steer for you, right? Okay, that didn't work. This is so you can get the feeling of drifting, but it might not work. It's also very annoying. I definitely recommend getting a direct drive wheel just because it's so loud. If you have people sleeping and stuff and don't want to bother anyone, these Logitech wheels just are horrendous, man. Alright, so let's initiate the donut. 5,000, 6,000. Right? And then let go of the wheel. Let it counter steer. And that's essentially how a drift would feel. Let's do a second. And again, we don't need a brakes or anything. This is just, all you need is throttle and a good sense of what to do with your steering wheel and good throttle control. That's all you need for drifting. So again, 5,000, 6,000 RPMs in second gear. So this is where the problem is with the wheel. It actually doesn't, you saw how slow that was, the counter steer? And that's where I said you might need to help it. You might need to help the wheel counter steer. Because the gear driven wheel is just too weak. It honestly was just too slow. Let me reset. Kind of like that. You saw how I kind of pulled the wheel and assisted it, and I did a real terrible job. Wow, dude, this is challenging just because of how loud this is. So I know in the clip it's not as loud as my voice, or at least I think my voice can still be heard, in my opinion. But it's hard for me to think about this stuff right now. I'm checking the camera to see if my pedals will push back because it's not mounted to anything. Okay, so again, I'm just gonna go 5,000, 6,000 RPMs, and you saw what I did there? I pulled the wheel back. I let the wheel counter steer, but I had the... Oh man, this is so challenging. Okay, please calm down. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick break real quick and we'll get back to it, but you kind of see the process. You're going to need to assist the wheel to counter steer, but versus a direct drive wheel, I don't have to assist the wheel will counter steer for me. So you and the wheel have to work together because of how weak the wheel is. Now I'm gonna do something a little crazy in a bit, and I'm gonna test to see if increasing the strength in the settings will help the wheel counter steer faster or not. And if it doesn't, then it's a waste of time. I also want to see if adjusting the smoothing will reduce the gears, and if there's a way to still have enough strength to counter steer good enough and have smoother gears so you won't have to hear the gears rattling. So that'll be a little bit of bonus. But yeah, we'll be right back. Alright, We're back, and I just needed a break because of how loud the gears are. I kind of just lose my mind. Um, it is literally driving me insane. Anyways, yeah, just keep practice both sides. You know, doing. Okay, why can't I start forward? Let the wheel counter. That's how it's supposed to be. Letting the wheel. Okay. So we're gonna go over a little bit of techniques with the current settings right now. So you're driving, and you're gonna get 5,000 to 6,000 RPMs, right? And then you countersteer a little bit. And you just kind of do that. And two things that are real bad about that part right there, right? I kept letting go off the gas. It's partially because I just can't think with this wheel. Oh, my brain. The minute you let off the gas, you'll exit the drift immediately, and you only do that for transitions. And in order to maintain the drift, you need to maintain throttle. So you need to keep stepping on the gas. Don't ever let go of the gas in mid drift, and especially since we have perfectly open space, you know, you don't have to let go of anything. You know, just open up a open map. Don't go into track. Open map, parking garage. I mean, not parking garage. Parking lot. You know, something open and something where you don't have to crash. And luckily, this is a sim. It's not the real world. You don't lose tons of money. That's why I kind of like sim racing. So just go wild, actually. And but remember, you're supposed to be gentle with the, you know, like, you can see my revs just slowly going up. You gotta be gentle. Because otherwise that will happen. So let's be gentle real quick. Oops. Right? And wow, that happened at like 3,000, 4,000 RPMs. I keep resetting because I just don't want to like downshift. I don't want to downshift, like shift too much. Please, car. Now, this wheel is not fun to me right now. If I could like somehow dampen the noise, that'd be great. But you know what? Let's do that now. Options. So first of all, I need more strength as well. So go back to controls. We're gonna go to force feedback. And like I said, really don't. The only two things you need to adjust are the strength. I think I had it like 700. Which is probably insane. Let's see how that feels. Let's see how that feels real quick. Let's see if it countersteers quickly enough, and let's see if it gets louder. It gets louder, oh yeah. No, okay. Yeah, it's a little better actually. So, some things I did wrong there. Well, that's because I was also testing to see if the wheel would countersteer for me a little better. And it did, but it was ridiculously loud, and I don't want to advise having it that loud at 700 strength. Force feedback strength at 700. Because it's just too loud. It's crazy. It's driving me nuts. if you do that, then perhaps maybe bump up the smoothing, which we're also going to try to do. But if you saw what I did there, it did kind of work a lot better. And one thing I did wrong was the reason why I ended up in a spun out into a donut was because I gave it too much throttle, but I didn't do enough countersteer. And again, the wheel doesn't countersteer for me as well. So I had to, you know, as I was turning sideways and my wheels are this way, right? My wheels weren't angled as much; they were closer to being straight, right? And I gave it more gas, so that causes me to go closer to the center. And as a result, giving it more gas, it needs more countersteer so it can stay kind of sideways. So more gas and more countersteer equals wider curve, right? More gas and less countersteer closer to the wheels being straight will bring you closer to the center, but also a higher risk of spinning out. Less gas, less countersteer, maybe, I don't know, that's kind of, hopefully you still have your drift. Also, it will, I don't know, let me see how that feels real quick. I don't 100% know what I'm saying, but definitely look up other tutorials on it. I think a great channel to look up on how to drift as well is Countersteer. He does a really great job because he actually drives a real drift car and he demonstrates it really well. So I recommend that. What am I doing again? Controls, force feedback, and smoothing. We're gonna bump this up to, let's say, 50. See how that feels. Because I wanted more strength, but the problem is the gears are just ridiculous. So let's try that out. First gear. Oh wow, dude, the gears feel... Oh, this might feel good. This might be it. This might be it. Okay, please. Please. Yo, I'm turning the wheel. Let's see if there's something wrong with the car. Okay. So 5,000, 6,000 as we turn. Let go. And yeah, it's a little slower, but I like this a lot better. So 700 for strength. In my opinion, if you have the G923 just like me, then this will be a great option, I think. But, however, you still need to assist the wheel to countersteer. This does not solve the problem of the gear-driven wheel. A direct drive wheel just is completely better. So again, here's my settings, right? 900, linearity 1, dead zone 0, 0. Strength at 700. I have my side acceleration strength to 5. Just give it a little bit of, you know, a boost. Reduce strength while parked, so that's just nice to have. And smoothing to 50. You might want to adjust this more or less. It's up to you and how you feel, like how loud you want your gears to be, and how much power you want your wheel to still keep. But in my opinion, this is kind of okay, and I like the smoothing effect this has. Maybe let me try dropping it real quick too. But I think 50 is fine, and yeah, everything else you just leave alone. Use response curve. We might go over this at the end of the video a little bit, because I kind of learned what it is, and you know, that'll just be a bonus thing. Okay, so again, we're gonna try donuts. Ooh, okay. The grinding's back, and we're gonna try this in second gear. Okay, we're gonna do that again. I said donut, but I mean like initiate the drift. So you You saw what I did with my hands there, right? You gotta work it. You gotta work it. But you know, practice makes perfect. I'm not used to this wheel. I'm not used to this setup, and you know, that's the reason why I just can't master it, because I honestly don't want to. I don't want this in my muscle memory too. I really don't. But so just play with your throttle mostly. Your gas is the most important thing. If you notice you're going too sideways, give it less gas. Right, let's do a donut real quick. So, I think I got my settings the way I want them to. Let me, actually, I'm going to change it back to smoothing to 50. I really liked it a lot better that way. Control, force feedback. And so again, strength is at 700, smoothing is at 50, and I think that's a nice kind of setting for the Logitech G923. Just, I think that's pretty good. So second gear. And you just need to figure out how to play with the gas at that point, you know? Understand your car. And honestly, you just saw right there, I was mainly, mainly playing with the throttle. I had it at full lock. It hit all the way at full lock, and I was just playing with the throttle mostly to maintain that last drift, which is pretty nice. I really liked how smooth that was. When I go back to my my main setup, I'm gonna adjust my throttle pedal so it's a little better, because I think that's what's causing me a lot of my problems is your inputs. Your inputs are pretty important. All right, guys. Just a little plug-in. I noticed while editing my videos, I didn't really reviewed my force feedback settings and stuff. So here we are at the force feedback settings. Make sure you have steering angle 900. Make sure it says wheel direct. Steering angle 900, and make sure your Logitech software, your steering angle is at. Let me open it as well to 900 degrees operating angle. Again, you could disable true force, because I think it'll add too much detail, especially for drifting. You don't need that much detail. You just need the wheel to spin and be at the right angle. That's all you need. This, for the most part, you should leave alone. Don't invert the axis, and yeah, don't. Linearity 1. Do not adjust this. It should be 1 to 1. Force feedback, obviously enable it. You need it on, otherwise your wheel just won't work. Inverted, if you feel like your steering inputs are just in the wrong direction, obviously. Strength, which is the most important part, and you know, going over throughout our entire video, is at 700 degrees. Side acceleration, you can have this at 0, or if you feel like you need a little bit of it, add 5%. You know, it has a max of 20. Reduce strength while parking, so this is nice to have. Make sure that's on. Disable the Logitech features, because we don't want too much detail while drifting. This is pretty important. Um, Automatic smoothing. I guess I left that on. You should leave this on if you have no clue how you should have it set up, which, yeah, just leave it the way it is. But smoothing, we have it at 50%. If you increase this more, you're going to lose force feedback strength. And the only reason why I'm smoothing it in the first place is because the gears are grinding like crazy, and this will help reduce the gears a little bit. So if you read if we go back to strength, where is it? Where are you? Where art thou? So it says for entry-level wheels, you should have it at 350 to 500. But I even boosted up beyond 500. I boosted it to 700. I felt like I needed more strength so it could behave a little more like a direct drive wheel. But despite that, the wheel doesn't move fast enough no matter what. But, 700 seems good. And to counter the gears from grinding too much, we add 50 smoothing. So it's just not as loud, that's all. It just makes it nice. So a little bit more strength and some smoothing to reduce the grinding noise. That's all. Honestly, if you can run this at 0, go ahead. However, your brain will rot. Just like the entire video. My entire video. It was too long because of how annoying the gears are. So, But yeah, this is the final setup for the force feedback. And one final thing. Controls. Based on the Logitech pedals, you go to vehicle, I feel like 2.5 linearity. Not 1. You need more sensitive. You need less sensitive. This is more sensitive. So if you tap slightly, you'll go like 0 to 60 a little too quickly. You need absolute control of your throttle. So 2.5, you could even go to 3 maybe. Who knows? But give it a shot. Start at 2.5, and if you think you need less sensitive pedals, go ahead, drop it to 3. Like if you tap on it like 30% and it feels like it's too much, like it's too much throttle, too much RPMs, too much power, then yeah, drop it a little bit. Go like drop about 2.7. Do small increments. All right, this is the most important. Your throttle, and then your brake. The brakes are absolutely terrible on the entry level Logitech pedals. So, it's up to you. If you don't want to stomp on it so hard, yeah, make it more sensitive. Or more sensitive. Yeah, more sensitive. If you don't want to stomp on it too hard, lower the linearity below 1. But I don't like doing that, but you might have to. Who knows, right? If you don't want to stomp on your terrible brakes, yeah. But if you have the range, you have a higher quality pedal, yeah, absolutely, go lower, because you have the adjustability, right? I'm gonna leave it at 1 because it really doesn't matter. I'm gonna switch back to my real main setup, and then your clutch. Honestly, the clutch is pretty darn good. Left shift, no, slider, clutch, slider. What is this? No, don't do that. Don't do that. No, cancel. Clutch. Why is this a slider? Okay, I guess they call it a slider. Okay, whatever. Yeah, clutch is easy. It's not that. The pedal is pretty smooth, so it's fine. But yeah, those are the settings. Anyways, back to the video. So yeah, let's review. Now that we got our settings right, and now that we gone over some basics, let's go over some homework. Yeah, homework. And homework for me too, especially even when I go back to my direct drive setup. I'm gonna like readjust some of my settings and especially coming back to G923 and trying to make it perfect. I think I want to make my main setup more perfect again. So it's less about the steering wheel actually. And we're lucky that BeamNG lets us bring the strength up all the way to 700 in the first place. That's pretty insane. It can go up to 1,000. So we have the strength up pretty high. So start off with donuts, right? And you let the actually it's countersteered for me already. Start off with donuts. Just hold the wheel all the way, full lock. Right? Just let it be. Give it about 5,000-6,000 RPMs, right? You let go, and you start to countersteer. Full lock. And just maintain your throttle to keep the donut. Stay around 5,000 to 6,000. Let go of the wheel and countersteer. And then I still did it wrong, but this is basically the idea of trying to figure out the feeling of a drift. Okay, maybe not full lock. Let's try less because let's try less. Let's try less. So you see the weird loop-de-loop. So once it get to that point, let it countersteer. You can see it kind of works. Once you get that feeling and you warmed up a bit, let's try to initiate the drift. So you can add a little weight transfer too. So like do that, kind of like that. Okay, can I do it in first gear? A little bit, little baby power slide. Okay, let's do it in second gear. It's just easier. And you're just gonna practice over and over again. Both sides, a little baby power slide. Back to second. Kind of. So here's straight, and you want to go like 90 maybe. Is that 90? Yeah, 90 degrees. And then let go of the wheel. Baby steps. Give it a little gas, and 5,000 to 6,000 RPMs. Let go, and try to help it countersteer because you needed to countersteer faster. That's basically the idea. You needed to countersteer faster, especially if you're going to use these gear-driven wheels. So practice doing donuts and then countersteering out of a donut, both directions, and then go to second gear, and because it'll be easier to maintain a drift. So higher gears equals longer drifts, wider drifts, and if you want to do it in like third, fourth gear or whatever, you need a higher horsepower car. Let's try that again. So, okay. Then play with your throttle, but make sure you don't go below like 4,000 RPMs maybe. But you can see right, like I have the habit of just letting the wheel do its own work, so that's why I'm having trouble doing it with this gear-driven wheel. Come on, man. It's a lot harder with this wheel. Even though it's a beginner wheel, it's just simply a lot harder. And if you want to say, hey, you invest a lot of money into this and you want to make sure you get your bang for your buck and actually use it, then by all means, go ahead. But know that you're going to work harder than a direct drive wheel. And even from real life, it's not anything close to real life. But yeah, that's basic, simple homework. If you are able to actually master the drift, let's see if I can do it. I guess the next thing you would do is linking 2 turns, right? But I'm not gonna look for any turns. We're just gonna try to BeamNG. And if you spin out like there from the second drift, then you know you did a bad job. Pretty much. I know I can link 2 turns. Right? And then you let go, and then you transition. And that was just okay. Not great. So, like, say like you're going into a turn, that technique could be used for let's see if I can do it. Let's see if I can. What's it called again? Like a. I'm not gonna try to remember. A Scandinavian flick? Where you drift on one side and then you drift it towards the other. I don't know if you can do it with this wheel though. I don't think you can. I mean, that kind of is it, but it didn't really work too well. Alright, let's